I hate videos. Now, you may be wondering, if I hate videos, what the heck am I doing here? Woohoo! Happy Friday to everyone here, or should I say, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you are in the world today. I am super excited. I'm sure you can tell. Because I have an amazing guest that I get to highlight today. And he is just someone that I have seen um, over the years. I've known him for quite some time already, and I've seen him just be that person that we should emulate. The way that my guest Bob pours into the lives of others is truly inspirational. So that is one of the reasons why I'm so excited, because I'm all about relationships. And yes, again, I have forgotten to introduce myself. So let me do that. Hello, welcome to Inspiration from Ingor. My name is Ingor van Roy, and I am known as a connection catalyst. What that means is I help entrepreneurs to develop a strategy so that they can stand out and connect with the ideal community. So, if you need help with that, if you need help growing on various platforms, including LinkedIn, please reach out to me and I'll be happy to have a conversation with you and explore whether we can work together. Um, wow. One more thing. If you're watching live, please drop us a comment and let us know. We would love to really weave your comment into the conversation and have a conversation not just between myself and my guest mom, but also between you and us as well. And if you're tuned in because I said I have a special announcement today, let me get that out of the way and so that we can move forward. Special announcement is I have a brand new show that is launching next week on March 1st. It is geared toward women empowerment, and perfect timing because March is International Women's Month. And no, that's not a coincidence. It was planned. Um, I just love people and I love to see them flourish. And if you know me and you've been following me or connected to me for a while, you will know that I have been posting about Wonder Women Wednesdays every Wednesday for about 2 years. And I feel that the reason why I do it is because I feel that there are so many women that are in the background helping to make things happen. But we don't talk about it. We don't talk about how we love people, what we do to empower others. We don't talk about how we lift others up. And I want to be able to highlight women that I come across because I want you to see that what you do is just as impactful. So, again, I have a new show. It's launching next Wednesday, March 1st at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. which is also 6 p.m. South African Standard Time. And I have another announcement, by the way. I will be um, also streaming this on a new platform, which is Africa Radio. It is a South African radio station. So my show launches next Wednesday, 11 a.m. on Africa Radio. And then we will be moving to live on LinkedIn at 11:30 a.m. So the layout of the show will be the first half an hour will be me introducing the concept and also the topic of that day's conversation. And then the next hour will be me interviewing one, maybe two people. And then the last half an hour will be me interacting with you as an audience and just receiving your questions and answering them and just having conversation with you as the audience. So please, if you are available, please tune in for the first 30 minutes and the last 30 minutes on africa.co.za. It will also continue to be live there, but we will be doing a LinkedIn live as well for the middle hour of that show. And so, also, let me say thank you to the sponsor of today's show, which is Africa Up Radio. Thank you, Africa Up Radio, for your support and helping women be seen. Know that we appreciate you and we're looking forward to this collaboration. And of course, it's not just geared towards women. I want ordinary people like you and I to know that they make a difference. I see that my comments are on fire, but before I go through them, I'd love to introduce you all to my wonderful friend, Bob Feathers.
Good morning.
Good morning, Bob. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
It's such a pleasure and really an honor for me because I know you and I know who you are inside. So, for those that don't know, can you let them know who Bob is and what you do, please?
Sure. Bob Feathers. I live in Boston. I'm from New Jersey. Like I like to say, I'm from New Jersey, but Boston is my home. I've been here since 1989. Married for it'll be 24 years this year, and we're blessed to have a lovely teenage son who's 16, going on 17, who's in the Bahamas this week, of all things. He's on school vacation. He's on school vacation, not me. That's okay.
Wow.
So currently, I work for a company called Bindable. We are a SaaS provider in the insurtech space, and so we provide technology to help our clients provide insurance products, P&C insurance products, through digital market space and also through agency software. And particularly for them, I work in project management, both on the client implementation side, internal platform improvements. Along with leadership, I chair the employee engagement committee, so very involved in helping develop, build, and shape and maintain our culture, because we have a great culture here at Bindable. And just this year kicked off a leadership council with some of my colleagues, and trying to build a leadership as our company is building and growing and scaling. So, and then prior to that, 30 years of manufacturing experience, which of course is kind of how you and I met, and some of my old cohorts and all the manufacturing who still want me back.
When I was an imposter in manufacturing.
Yes, with your screen off because you hated video, because
Yes.
you wouldn't even join the network calls with your screen on. You'd be like,
Oh my
turn
gosh.
your
Yes.
turn your camera on and tell us who you are. You're like, mm-mm, mm-mm.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I can always count on my friends to to reveal the real me. But it was awesome, an awesome experience just to be brought into that space. But I want to go back to what you said. You spoke about a leadership council that you guys are establishing, and I've heard you speak about this before.
Yep.
But for those who don't know, can you tell us what is the purpose of this leadership council?
So what I had found, as our company's growing, right? So we're a growing company, and we hit that inflection point. We were going above 50 employees, right? When I started, I think I might have been employee 49 or 50. So when you go to that 50 to 100, right, you're starting to enter a different space. It's a different inflection point of how the company's growing. And just, through all my conversations, being a project manager, right, I get involved with everyone. It's nice because I get to deal with a lot of my colleagues cross-functionally just by the nature of the work I do. And I got wind of some new managers that got promoted into management positions as things were changing that had never been in management, and they were meeting themselves to kind of as like a little support group. Kind of they're like, oh, we're all both managers, and they're meeting. And I kind of found out about it just because through conversation. And one of them was new. I had said to him when I interviewed him to get this position, said, I'm happy to mentor you. I've been doing, been in leadership for a long time through my career, and I'm happy to help you now changes because it's different. There's a different mindset you need to be in. And I'm happy to help you. So I kind of found that was going on. And then there was some just changes in the company as we were growing. There was some, there's a little bit of a gap, right? Between the executive team and that's kind of this management or, manager level and then the workers below, and not in a bad way, just the fact that you can't be everywhere all the time. And people, I would always think we're a small company, everyone knows everything. And I'd have a conversation with somebody like they had no idea what was going on. So I realized there's a little bit of this gap going on just by the growth of the company. So I reached out to a few of my colleagues in that kind of level, right, in between the executive team and below. Like we're really kind of making the execution of the strategy. So I thought, well, we have this strategy going on with the executives, but we really need to have alignment among the kind of the leaders below that are doing the real execution with the people below them to make sure that we're all aligned. So the idea was just to build a forum so that we have alignment between company objectives and the actual work being done, making sure there's, kind of best practices or even just etiquette, like how do we all, talk to each other? How do we use our business systems? How do we onboard people? How do we offboard people? And making sure there's consistency among that. So, kind of every leader, you get somewhat siloed in your own space, but then making sure that we're all kind of doing things similarly or what we consider to be the right way or the way we want it to be presented, so that there wasn't these gaps of knowledge or gaps of information or gaps of messaging. So and so we've just started, but we're kind of excited. We've got a lot of good things on the agenda, and part of it is we'll meet monthly, but we'll meet with the executive team quarterly. And the idea there is to be, again, make sure we're in alignment, and it's a collaboration. It's not meant to be reporting up. It's also like, what do you need from us, right? Just kind of making sure we're also what messages do we want to make sure we present the messages right, or the goals right, or the objectives right, or as things change, making sure we're all kind of know what's going on and just to be informed.
I love that, because we all know what happens when there is a gap of information. It really does influence the culture in a negative way, because there's a lot of speculation. There's right,
That's
right, like,
that was one of my components. Is all of my experience was one of the things I've always hated. It's just not being transparent with
yes,
communication by being too vague. And then you
yes,
leave it up to people's minds or assumptions to what the message is. If you don't really clearly present the message,
hmm,
people will interpret it themselves.
yeah,
So it's important. And we have a great culture, but we want to make sure we don't all of a sudden erode it with false narratives that might get created if we don't just have, because we're still small. Like we shouldn't have that kind of stuff going on. We should be able to be clear and just have clear
shouldn't,
messaging and be open. And we are, our CEO is
yes,
always very
mhm,
open, but he can't be in front of us every day. Even as much as he is in front of us and really
yeah,
presenting messages, it's not every day. So
yeah.
sometimes that starts to just, you're growing. That's what happens. You have growing pains. It
Wow.
was one of my colleagues calls me. She describes me as an opportunistic leader, that I just see an opportunity. And I think given the fact that I've been in the working world for a long time, I'm not afraid. I'm like one of the ask for forgiveness type of people, right? It's like I see an opportunity, I just go and dig in, and then they're like, oh, I hope you don't mind I did that. Like I'm not like looking like, is it okay if I do this? I'm like, I just do stuff, and I'm like, it's okay, right? Like it's okay that I went to the president because she's my boss, and I said, hey, by the way, I'm kind of forming this leadership council. I've kind of already started it. I hope that's okay. And she's like, no, it sounds great. But I started. I didn't ask and say I think I have an idea. It's more like I have an idea. I started talking to people. everyone likes the idea. We're going to do it. And she's like, okay.
Yeah, but in life, there are people that will sit back and watch things, um, watch a collision take place. There are others that will jump and try to prevent it. And then there are others that are just going to be the victims of that collision, right? And I want you to know that you are making an impact at work and everywhere else that I see you show up. Um, and that is so important to me. Impact is very important. I'll share one of my favorite quotes with you, which is by Kevin Cruz. And he says, life is about making an impact, not an income.
So I'll share with you when I was looking for this job, when I was unemployed, after being employed pretty much straight for 30 years in that whole manufacturing space. And I found myself uninspired by the manufacturing space. I just all the jobs I saw was uninspiring. So I really was, what am I going to do? But beyond what I want to do, what was important to me. And you kind of go. So I started to create a little list. It's like, what are the things? And think of it like when you're buying a house, right? Like, here are the things we need to have. Here are the things we want to have, right? So you kind of develop that hierarchy. And so I was like, well, what are the things I kind of need to have, like for this next chapter? What do I need to have? A company with vision, right? So it couldn't just be some like, oh, we want to make things better than everyone else. Okay, but like, what's your vision? What's your passion? And I talked to a lot of the people in the interviews, and especially the CEO, and he knew what he wanted to be. He knew where we wanted to go. He wasn't trying to. He kind of had this vision of where we're going, and I was like, that's great because he could speak to it. And a lot of other people that I talked to understood kind of what they were doing, right? And they kind of understood how they fit into that equation, which I thought was powerful. The second was growth. Obviously, you want to find an industry that's growing, right? You don't want to go to a kind of you're like, oh, these guys are on the decline, so let me jump in and be on the decline. Like, so, you're looking for a growing industry. So that was important. Culture, obviously, which we talked about. Culture was critical because I came from a company that had kind of almost anti-culture, and I just couldn't deal with that anymore. I didn't want to have that kind of level. It was too important to me, taking my time to be working in that place that just didn't bring anything to you. It's enough to have my friends, and that's great, but I want to have something for my colleagues. I want to have some kind of interaction that's meaningful to me. Number 4 on the list was impact. I wanted to go somewhere where I could have an impact. I didn't want to go somewhere that was a huge company that I'm just a number and just grinding out. Yeah, maybe I'm having an impact on a small. I wanted to go somewhere where I could can I go in there and take all this and just help serve the company, help serve the goals, whatever it was. And number 5 on the list was income. Obviously, I want to get paid, but it was the lowest on my list. It was the
Yeah.
lowest thing. I wasn't going, I need to find a job. I need to make X amount of money. I need to have a certain title. I just didn't, that was not important. Like, title wasn't even on there, right? I didn't have to find a position of title. It wasn't important to me, even though I'd come from it. It wasn't, that was what I wanted. So impact was the one. So it was above
Yes.
income. So there you go.
That's awesome. So Bob, you and I have been very naughty. We haven't acknowledged the people that are in audience with us. So let's go and say hello to our people. And oh, okay, I'm gonna scroll right to the top, guys. I apologize if it's been a long time since you made this comment, but I'd like to acknowledge everyone. Hello to you, Chrislyn. She says, "Woohoo! This is gonna be a show to remember. I can't wait." Oh my gosh. Thank you. Chrislyn is my cousin. She's my associate. The two of us work together. And she's my sister. So awesome to have you here. Thank you. And we have Gerald. Oh my gosh. Hello, Jerry. Thank you for tuning in. He says, super busy today, but I do support networking. Awesome. And then we have the station manager of Radio AKR, Africa Radio. Thank you for being here and tuning in. Hello, Sebastian Peterson. Nice to see you. Do you know this lady?
Yes.
Hello, Diane. Nice to see you. Thank you for tuning in. And there's somebody else that's here to support you too. Ah. Thank you for being here, Liz. Nice to see you on my screen. Oh my gosh, it's been a minute. By the way, I've sent you a message. Please check it out. I'd love to catch up. Nice to see you. And yeah, somebody that's supporting. Oh my gosh. Good morning to you, Pooja. Thank
Do you,
you.
do you
I
know who
know
Pooja is?
she works with you. I
Well, she did. She was one of our
oh,
interns. She was on my team. She was awesome, but I had to let her go so she could go back to school. So
oh, I'm sure she can come back.
hopefully
I'm sure.
hopefully the business is growing and I can like bring her back. But yes.
That's awesome. Thank you for being here. And Sebastian is saying hello, ma'am. He's that's Sebastian. The first time I met with him, I said, "You don't have to call me ma'am," but that's who he is. Uh, Hello, Elise van Straten. Thank you for tuning in. Elise is someone that I met on LinkedIn, and she is a fellow South African. So nice to see you here, Elise. Hopefully, you and I can catch up too sometime. And then um, we have our amazing friend from manufacturing, my manufacturing friend. Hello, Whitney Koch. She says, hello, everyone. Good morning from Sugarland, Texas.
And you got it right. It's
Excited.
Koch. Koch.
Yes.
Like my grandmother and grandfather, they were Koches.
Oh,
They weren't Cokes or Kooks or whatever you want to say. It was Koch. Koch.
okay. No offense, but I need to say this. Americans decide how they pronounce stuff.
Of course we do, but that's okay. So, but I always pronounced it Koch. So when I came to Boston and it was
Yeah.
Jim Coke of
Yeah.
Samuel Adams, I was like, Coke? What is that about? I don't understand that. That's Koch. What's this guy talking about?
I think it's that last name has its roots in I think it's in Germany.
It's Germany. It's
And
German. My grandparents were German, so yeah.
so in Germany it would be Koch.
Okay.
I know.
Bless you.
So here's the joke, right? Like, so I'm South African, and we roll our R's. We can say like "rrr" and right with a G, right? But my kids cannot say it. They can't. It's a joke in my house actually. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so there are a lot of comments. Please note that I will be highlighting individuals, just saying hello to, and I'm most possibly will not be displaying all the comments, just because I want to be cognizant of everyone's time as well. But hello, she says, this is Lady C, it's Cecilia. She says, good afternoon, Ingor, tuned in from Cape Town, South Africa. Yes, please drop me a comment and let me know where you're tuning in from. It's awesome to see. Do you know Karen Rivera?
I don't believe I
You
do.
should.
Yeah.
You should. She's also an amazing person that is part of Women in Manufacturing. And
Oh, with
she's
Angela Thurman
yes,
or yeah.
yes, she's
Okay.
connected to Angela Thurman.
Oh,
Yes.
perfect. Okay. So that's why I'm like, I'd like it
Uh,
kind of. I think I do, but I'm not sure if I'm
yes.
directly connected. So that's why I was like, I don't know. But if it's Angela, then I probably kind of do, right? I've probably seen her
Yes.
name.
Yes. Hello, Karen. Nice to see you here. She says she's greetings from the piney woods of East Texas. And I love Karen's YouTube name actually. It is, I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, Karen. I think it's Alice in Wonderland with an A. It's pretty cool. And there's a whole reason behind it. But get to know her and you'll find out why. Oh, Laura Molando, thank you for tuning in. She says, Happy Friday, everyone. Oh, and she's also saying, Congratulations and high fives on my new show. Thank you. Pooja is saying, Yeah, good to see you, Bob. Hello, Ligia. Thank you for tuning in. This is an amazing, amazing lady, and someone that I call sister. She's also one of my Wonder Women, and so is Whitney. So is Chrislyn, so is Cecilia. There's quite a few of them here. It's nice to see. Oh, and Lydia is tuning in from Brampton, she says. She says hi to you, Bob. Nice. Okay, let's see how many. Oh, Karen says, welcome back and hope I had a good vacation with and time with family. Thank you. That's so sweet. Yes, I did have a good vacation. And this is part of the reason why I am now collaborating with this amazing company up here, AKR. Oh, look who is here. Hello to you, my darling sister, Katie McDermott. You are awesome. Happy Friday. Also, one of my amazing Wonder Women. So, thank you for being here. And we have my friend ABD Barra tuning in from Paris. Thank you for being here. Okay, let's get. I'm almost there. Well, almost at the bottom. I want to. Whitney says, sometimes you beg for forgiveness instead of asking for permission. And oh my gosh. Cecilia is acknowledging what you said because she says, indeed, Whitney, it gets me in trouble at times. Bob, you're supposed to be a good example to us.
Well, think of it this way. Think of it in the sense that I think also think of that analysis, paralysis by analysis, right?
Mm,
People get caught up in this kind of, well, what if, and I don't know, and I'm not sure, and they sit back and they sit back, and I'm just saying, hey, this is a good idea. Let's take some action on it. Let me talk to some
yes.
people about it. Because I don't think I'm not staging a coup. I'm not trying to subvert what the company's trying to do, right? I'm just trying to support the
Yes.
company and or support these new managers with some of us that
Yes.
have been other, that we've had more experience, but so we can all work together. But at the
Yes.
same time, I didn't wait to do something. I kind of did it in the guise of asking for forgiveness if I was overstepping my
No,
bounds. But so
but
again, but I understand it. Like I think, but if you sit back always waiting for permission, right, or always kind of wait, then you may not make those
yes.
decisions. You may not make that, because you need to have that kind of sense of empowerment. You need to want to be empowered, right? It's one thing to
Mhm.
people to say you're empowered to do whatever you want, but you also have to then do it, right?
Yes.
So
Yes. And really truly the world needs action takers.
yeah,
We do. We do. We can't all sit back and wait for
right.
something to happen.
And it's okay for not everyone to be like, not
Yes.
everyone at the company is going to be action takers, and that's okay too, right? Because we can't all be the same people, but
Yes.
just recognize where your strengths are, right? So one of my strengths is, of course, like taking action or being in a leadership role or not being afraid to be an opportunistic
Yeah.
leader, seeing a gap and going, hey guys, there's a gap over here that I see, and I've had a lot of experience that I might be able to bring and then help build, start the conversation. So
Yes.
let's do something. And then other
That's
people will
awesome.
come along that would never start the conversation, but they're happy to be a part of the conversation. And
Yes.
they're like happy it's happening. And, they have to be involved or be a part of it. Doesn't mean they're going to lead the meeting, but they're
Yes.
there. And the funny thing is, there's certain people, right? The more the introvert, that you bring them in a safe setting that's like, hey, we're here, we're all talking. And next thing you know, like they start having some pretty good ideas because they have a lot to say. They don't have that, their voice is not that, that personality is not to be that voice.
Yes.
But if you give them a safe
Yes.
space and give them an opportunity to communicate, they'll come up with
And
good ideas.
sometimes we evolve. We come from that place, but then we evolve and become something different.
Yeah,
Um, it's like that with me. Um, I I come from the corporate world where I was mostly silent. I would share my ideas, to the powers that be. And unfortunately, a lot of my ideas made it to the table without me.
right. that's
Yeah.
also the leaders that take all the credit, which we don't have it here. So it's actually funny you say it evolving. It's like one of my things here is I'm starting the conversation, but I'm trying to like step back. I'm trying to push other people up. And so even with leadership council, even though I'm kind of the start of the conversation, one of my colleagues who's one of the newer managers, I have her kind of trying to be more the face, meaning I have her schedule the meetings. I have her kind of, when the invitation goes out to the executive team for the meeting, it comes from her, not from me. And I have her be the facilitator of our meetings to kind of let her, she and I work on it together, but I'm kind of
Yeah.
giving her more of a voice to be the facilitator because I want
Yes.
her to kind of, I don't want to always be, I want to be part of the team, but I also want somebody else to kind of help to be the voice
Yes.
a little bit, and try to
And
give
I
that.
love that you're empowering her to do that,
And
right?
I told her, I
Because
said, like,
yeah,
I'm happy to do this, but I want you to do it.
yes,
If you're comfortable doing it, I want you to kind of, I want you to lead the meeting. You and I can work on the agenda, but I want you to lead the meeting. I want you to start the
that's awesome.
conversation. I want you to open up and kind of be let it be your meeting a bit and let your kind of
That's
take some of
awesome.
that. Yeah. So
That's awesome. I want to say that I do see that more people are joining us. So if you're watching live, can you drop us a comment and let us know who you are and where you're tuning in from? It's just amazing to be able to acknowledge you as we watch. Um, I would, so you, I'm sure you've read
just,
Laura's comment. Yes, go ahead.
I just thank you, Laura. Uh, just mention Kenny D. I don't want to miss Kenny D. He's feeling left out.
Kenny D, thank you for
Kenny
tuning
D's
in.
in the house.
I'm going to get to his comment. I do want to continue to just acknowledge people that have been tuned in for a while. Hello to you, Beverly Reed. Beverly is my, wow, she's my sister. Not by blood, but an honorary sister I met in the corporate world. And she knows that anger that used to be silent and share ideas only behind closed doors. And I'm sure for her,
The one with
yes,
her camera off.
yes, the one with the camera off, the one that would what, you were having a Zoom? No, I'm not coming. I'm not even coming. I'm not even going to show up. Like that was
Yeah, you're
me.
like, what happened to conference calls? I like conference calls. What's
Yeah.
this Zoom thing? I don't like this whole.
Yeah.
Who
Right?
invented this?
Right? I used to be that person that would facilitate conference calls. Oh, you want to dial into a conference call? No problem. I'll unlock it for you, everything, and I'll just be there in the room, but not on the phone. That
I
was
I I at the end of the day, by the end I hated conference calls because
mm,
I'd have them with teams
mm,
in two, three countries, right? And there'd be all these different, and there'd be one room that might have 10 people in the room, in Australia, but no one would talk. Like I found myself being in this monologue for these meetings, and I was just like,
oh my
anybody
gosh.
have any inputs, and you're like, and then you had to almost like force people like, so and so, do you anything to say? Like just to hear their voice. Like, are you there? Like, do you exist? Like, it's just so hard. I
Yeah.
mean, I know how much people got zoomed out and Zoom fatigue and all the kind of but at the same time, having those meetings with when I see people on the screen is just so much more meaningful. I just feel like you get
Yes.
this more impact than just having those phone calls where you're like just these voices come out, and it's also hard to kind of know because you don't get the visual cues of when you should stop talking.
Yeah.
But because you can
I
see people kind
agree.
of go like this, right? Like I was when you said impact, and I was like, yes, like let me talk.
Yes.
Hold on. That doesn't work on a. That doesn't work when you're on a conference call, right? It's like,
No, it doesn't. But thank you, Bev. That's very sweet of you. Um, yeah. Diane says when there is appropriate communication and culture within a company, then employees don't need to ask for permission or worry about a smack on the hand. Communication solves those issues. Very well put. Thank you, Diane. Wow. Oh, hello to you, Adele. Adele is, she said, from Mzansi, South Africa. She's tuned in from Cape Town, South Africa, the place of my heart and, of course, my birth. Thank you for being here. Nice to see you. And Kenny, hello. He says, Savor the flavor of the awesomeness in you, peeps, for sharing your delectable, scrumptiously, deliciously, edibly tasty, good, heartfelt thoughts with us today. Thank you. Yes, this is Kenny's trademark. Oh my gosh, but it's so awesome. And he is the maker of amazing sweet potato pies.
Sweet potato cheesecake.
Oh, it's sweet potato cheesecake.
Maybe he makes the
Ooh,
pie too, but the picture I saw was a cheesecake.
wow.
We talk about all the time. And they're starting to get some Brian and Nancy Deborah is getting a little bit like, all right, where's my
Like,
sweet
yeah,
potato cheesecake?
yeah, I think you need to FedEx me some.
So my comment to him now is like dry ice and FedEx. Just saying.
Oh my gosh. And Katie says, okay, now I can see everything. Okay, so if you're experiencing any issues on LinkedIn, please go over to YouTube and find me there. The channel's name is Inspiration from Ingor. So please YouTube if you're having an issue. And then hello to you, Natan Smith. Thank you for tuning in. Natan and Adele are a power couple. They work together and they also have a show on AKR called Lumming with the Smiths. I've tuned in, so awesome to see you here. And then let's see. Oh, Whitney says, I don't get the Coke pronunciation either. I can get cook because that's what Koch means in German. So is it cook? Tell me, Whitney, is it cook? Let me know. Because cook in Afrikaans is cook. That's why I'm asking. Okay. Katie says, like Hebrew, I can spit my Hebrew alphabet. Laugh out loud. Oh my gosh. And then Ileana is tuned in as well. Ileana says, good morning from my world. Thank you for being here, Ileana. Hope you and I can get on a call sometime. I know we've been back and forth trying to make it happen. Then I have MD Alamin. He says, hello, you're a native speaker. Love you. Happy Friday. I'm not sure what that means, but thank you for being here. Wow. Whitney. Wow. Mic drop, Whitney. Whitney says the power of psychological safety. Wow. Diane says 100% provide a safe place. Provide a place where growth mindset is key. Ooh. And you allow respect, kindness, authenticity to be present. And then great things happen. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Hello. Jamie, oh my gosh. Jamie is amazing. Jamie, you and I need to work on your privacy so we can see you. But Jamie is amazing. I'm not sure if you're connected to him. If not, please go back and check him out. He is another authentic human being. He was a guest on my show not too long ago. So I can definitely send you that episode as well. But he is awesome. Okay, one more thing. Cecilia says, same thing happened to me. My ideas get hijacked and some becomes someone else's brilliant idea. Ugh. Oh my goodness, I used to look the other way. Right? What? I'm sorry, like, pardon my French, but what bullshit?
Yeah.
Like, who does that? And then they can still sleep at night.
Yeah. I always think that's the thing. I was like, sleep. If it helps you sleep at night, or how do you look yourself in the mirror? Like, there's some people that do certain things, and I just think to myself, when you wake up in the morning, what do you see in the mirror? Like, do you not
Right?
look in the mirror? Because like I would just be like, oh, you're such a jerk. like you hijack that person's life. Like, or you're just such a narcissist or so self-centered or so whatever it is. You just don't. You're
But
so
then
concerned
again,
about
mm,
yourself as opposed to the others around you.
but then again, if they're a narcissist, do they even care?
Well, that's kind of probably what it comes down to, right?
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me, right? I mean, throughout my career, just and I think COVID. Well, I think this remote workforce. There was a great article, and I wish I could. I'm not going to quote it, but there was a great article about the change in leadership due to the fact of the remote workforce. And so I'm hoping that we'll see more of that change. And what I mean, but what they meant by it was
Mm,
the old style of leadership really was, and you're in the room, was that person, right? That guy that comes in the room, that guy, the person, I'll just say the person comes in the room, whoever gravitates toward just kind of comes in and is like, I'm the leader. And they come in and they've got that kind of that charisma and they just bring that kind of the extrovert. It doesn't mean they have all the best ideas, but it just, and people kind of gravitate, right? They just have that, people kind of go, oh, that's the person. So that's the person that always kind of seems to move up. The quiet person, right? That might have great ideas that just doesn't come out of the shell,
mhm.
isn't the person that's always elevated, isn't the person that's promoted, isn't the person that people are talking to.
Yeah.
But in a remote workforce, you don't have, in a remote, kind of remote environment, you don't really have that energy anymore. You can't walk into the room. There's no walking into a room. You're now just all
Mhm.
on these Zooms, these
Yeah.
abstractions on screens.
Yeah.
And so what they're finding is, and then the other problem is, because of that, people are also used to that kind of person. You walk around the office, right? What's going on? How you doing? You're kind of like, you're doing that. And you're just checking on people. What are you doing? Are you here every day? Right? It's always like, are you here 8 to 5? You could be doing nothing. You could be playing solitaire,
Right?
right? But you had to be there 8 to 5. The people that weren't there 8 to 5 are like not doing their job. And so that's why the whole remote work, back in the day, remote work was like, oh, that person's just at home. They're, getting paid to do nothing and sit at home on their couch and eat bonbons and it's like, so anyway, COVID comes, right? Everyone goes home anyway, and then the companies survive and they realize like, oh, people are pretty productive at home, and they're actually, the company's still surviving, and we don't need all this stuff. We don't need to be somewhere. We can be more flexible. And then what they're finding though, the people that are most suited to the remote are the people that are the organized, the most organized, the kind of the quiet
Mhm.
people are just moving along, getting the work done, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden those people are starting to emerge in more leadership or more, because they're seeing like the value of the work that they're doing,
Yeah.
because they're kind of keeping track of things. They're, even though it's remote, right? They're organized. They're different thought processes. They're not just the walk around and see what you do.
Yeah.
So anyway, it'll be interesting to see how this keeps developing, and maybe we'll have some better leadership where we don't have just those
Yes.
narcissists running around. They're just, like,
Right? Oh my gosh. Okay, let's say thank you to Pooja. She says, congratulations on my new show. Thank you, Pooja.
you can have her
Mm,
on as like an emerging leader.
I'd love to get to know her, yes. And then we can explore that. Jamie,
Uh,
you are freaking amazing. Jamie Fagan says, okay, Inga, I adjusted just for you. Thank you. Thank you. I love to be able to know that it's you, my friend. It's awesome to have you here. Jamie works for the Canadian National Coast Guard, and so he's off on ship sometimes for extended periods of time. And I don't always get to see him. So it's amazing to see him on my screen right now. Thank you. Um, Jamie. I mean, sorry. Thank you, Jamie. Awesome to see you. And by the way, he says he loves some bonbons.
I mean, it is the advantage of being home, right? You can be on your couch and eat bonbons
Right?
while your laptop's next to you doing work.
Yes. Diane says we are different people with different personalities. When we embrace each other as colleagues and important members of the team, we all grow exponentially. It goes back to creating safe places with a foundation of respect and kindness. And oh my goodness, I have to say this, Bob. We are almost 45 minutes in to this show, and I haven't even asked you my questions yet.
Oh, okay. So, but
But
this is an important point, which she's also making, which is you have to have
mhm,
a team made up of different personalities. Like you have
yeah,
to be. You can't all
yes,
be the same people. And we
yes,
recognize, one of the things I like about my company is everyone recognizes kind of their what they bring to the table, their expertise. Everyone has and everyone steps up to the plate when they need to. Meaning, like if I go, I'm a terrible technical, like we need somebody to write this thing up, and I hate technical writer. I'm not good at it. The person that is goes, I can do that. I'm good at it. Like nobody's like everyone steps up to the plate to do what
Yes.
they're good at, and we all kind of recognize that too. So we lean on people and say, "Hey,
Yes.
can you do this? Because I know you're really good at it." And everyone kind of brings what they need because you need all the different, you need all the players. You
Yes.
can't all be done by one person or one type
No.
of person. So
Yeah. Um, Go ahead and read Whitney's comment for you, please.
preach, Bob. I get really fired up about remote hybrid work. The data is out there to support productivity. The old school leaders need to let go of the need to see people in the office.
Right.
But being in person is important too. Meaning it's kind of in the scheme of things, in
Mm,
person meetups are important. It's you gotta. I think it's just there's still. I don't want to always be remote. That's why I go to a WeWork 3 days a week because I don't want to be. I don't want to be home 5 days a week. I want to get out of my house. So
oh
I'm
my
still
gosh.
old school in the sense that, but I don't force my colleagues to be with me. But I certainly invite them and say, if you want to come down to the WeWork and hang out with me and have lunch or whatever, and just have some in-person conversation. And when we do have in-office out times with my colleagues that are local here in Boston,
Hmm.
people gravitate towards them. We have a good time, and there's a value in that having that like, hey, walking over and have that conversation that you would never have even on a Slack huddle because it's just like, oh, you just get involved in your little silo. So
I
there's a
guess.
balance. There's a balance. There's a but
I guess, there's value in everything that we're speaking of, and I
yeah,
will say though that I am an advocate for working from home.
yeah.
It's
Well,
like
but
it's
again,
my
so
thing.
when I had a team in Australia, it made a difference when I'd
Mm,
go there for 2 weeks to spend eight
mm,
hours, like be in a room with them for 8 hours, like just working and seeing them eye to eye and really getting through ideas. I could never do that over the. I just can't. Not that kind of level of
yeah,
just that
ideation.
interaction and
Yeah,
ideas and so
yeah,
those trips were very valuable. When I went to
yeah,
Toronto to see my team there, it was very valuable just to have that time and say, hey guys, I'm here in this room with you. I'm not in Boston. I'm here and I'm here for the week and I'm here to spend time with you and have
yeah,
conversations and things. So you need to have there's a balance. So you can't just do it. I don't believe you can do it all remote. I think you have to have some of that
yeah.
interaction. As good as Zoom is, it just sometimes because you don't want to be on Zoom in 8 hours. I'd rather be in a room, right, having a conversation. Hey, I got to go grab a sandwich. Like it's a little
Yeah.
different. It's not quite as exhausting. Like being on Zoom can be somewhat exhausting in a way.
I guess. So the person that I work very closely with is in South Africa. You saw her, Chrislyn, and I think maybe the reason why our dynamic works so well is because we've known each other for a really long time. So we know what to expect from one another. We know each other's limitations, right? I think that's probably why it works well enough that we can work together. And I'm in Canada and she's in South Africa.
Yeah.
But let's say hello to our awesome friend. She says she's sorry that she's late to the live show. I've been waiting for some glitter, lady. So nice to see you, Dr. Nupi Aurora. She says, look what she's sending you, Bob.
Glitter bombs.
Oh my gosh. Yes,
Glitter
glitter
bombs.
bombs. Diane Bayer says change is happening. Wow. I want to get through these comments quickly and then,
You can ask me
oh,
a question or something. Is it was there?
I do want to ask you some questions. But before, let me just take a moment to say again, thank you to our awesome friends at 𝐓𝐡𝐞 Radio for sponsoring this show today. And if you missed my announcement, let me allow it to tick across your screen. I'm announcing that I am launching a brand new show called Wonder Women Wednesday next week on Wednesday, the 1st of March, which is Women's Month, by the way, the beginning of Women's Month. And I'm excited because I get to highlight and acknowledge amazing women um, in my circle. So tune in and please support that show. It would be awesome to see. Ileana says, if we do not empower one another, then what are we doing? Yeah, I think that needs to be a rhetorical question, Ileana.
Yeah.
Thank
Yes.
you
It's like
for dropping that mic. Um, yeah, what are we doing if we're not empowering one another? Because really, truly, the only way to maximize on impact is to do things together and empower one another. So, hello, my beautiful friend. She says, fab to see you both. So nice to see you. And she is going to glitter bomb the comment section, I know.
it's happening.
Oh my gosh, it's already happening. She's saying, yes, safe space is important, and individual strengths are combined together are amazing. We are each like cogs in a
Yeah.
mechanism. Exactly. Ubuntu. I haven't even spoken about Ubuntu today. Like, come on. I'm just super excited and I'm just yeah.
What
So
are we
if
doing?
like what am I doing?
What's going on?
It's you. You're so awesome. If you don't know me well enough yet, you should know that I am a big advocate for the concept or the principle of Ubuntu. And what it means is I am because we are. And the reason why I am such a great advocate for this is because um, I have learned so much as a result of the people that I've encountered in my life, as well as the experiences that I have had. And thank you, Diane, for reminding me of this. Because, yes, I love people, and this is why. So, Dr. Nupi says, yes, it is. Human connection is vital, Bob. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Whitney. Whitney is speaking to you. Go ahead and read it, please.
Oh, I agree. In-person meetups are important, so leaders need to be intentional. Great word.
Mhm.
Requiring people to be in the office just because you think that's the only way people get work done is obtuse. Yeah.
Yes. And remember, you spoke about intentional a few weeks ago on
Yeah.
somebody's show.
Yeah.
Intentionality is so important.
Yeah.
So,
So when I was having people in these, it was intentional. It was like, hey,
mhm,
let's just have this time together. We'll do a group lunch, but it was like it was meant to be, it was a once a month type of thing. But it was an intentional. It wasn't just like it was more like we're doing this.
mhm,
We're going to bring people in. If you want to come, sign up. And then pretty much everyone signs up. There's very few people that go, I don't want to be, pretty much everyone is
mhm,
available would come in the office. But we weren't saying to you, you have to be here. We just said, we're going to have office hours. If you want to come, RSVP
mhm.
and I'll put you on the list. And then everyone responds and says, yeah, because once everyone starts responding, you don't want to be the person that's like, yeah, I don't want to like come. And then we're all going to be like, what? You don't want to hang out with us? So
Right? Oh my gosh. Jamie says, human connection, laughter together, not to mention the occasional hug and handshake.
I'm a hugger. That's just a public service announcement. So public service announcement. If you do meet me in person, I will hug you. At the very least, definitely a real hearty handshake. So
Oh my gosh.
COVID was a killer for me for a while. I remember talking to another friend of mine. I was like,
Can you
I
imagine?
haven't shaken somebody's hand in so long.
Oh, right?
Like, what am I doing?
Oh my
And then when you
gosh.
get out of it, right, then you don't know what to do. Everyone's like elbowy thing. It was just all.
Right?
It was so awkward for a while. I was like, oh, can we just get back to shaking hands?
Yeah. You can clean your hands after if you really have, if you really
Like,
need to, right? Nupi says that in-person energy exchange is so important. Oh my gosh.
yeah.
I will say this, Nupi. Can you imagine you and I meeting in person? Like what that would be like? Insane. Insane. But yeah, exactly.
Mushroomy cloud
Oh
thing.
my
Well,
gosh.
Noopy's coming to Boston. She's coming to Boston, so you can imagine her and I together. It's like a little glitter bomb. Like, get a little
Oh
champagne, the
my
two of us.
gosh. Oh, yes.
If we actually did that, would just be it wouldn't be it wouldn't be it would just be a one big laugh. I think it would just be one big laugh
Yes.
that would never really end.
Oh my gosh. Sid, thank you for tuning in. He says there's something about in person connections too. Yes, a good balance. I've been working from home since 2020 and I miss some interactions. I will say that I don't miss some interactions.
Well, yes.
Like
We've already talked about those people already that we don't miss them, so that's
no,
okay.
but the office politics. That is something that I really don't
Yeah,
miss.
I always hate it. Yeah, that's
I mean, who likes that? But
no.
yeah. Adele says diversity rocks. We are not cardboard cutouts, right? Being real and being yourself sparks so much joy, passion, and courage. That's why I left corporate. Emancipation. Oh my gosh. Oh, my mind, my life, and me. Wow. Yes, I felt that. I
Awesome.
felt that. Awesome. Nupi says, I guess it also depends on personalities. In person connection completely energizes me, Zoom as well as real life. Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, people, like, I'm like, I haven't asked you a damn question yet. Like, really?
What am I here for? Is there a
Uh,
reason? Is there a purpose?
yes,
Other than
we're having it. We're
you and
having
me
it.
just reading some comments and hanging out, right? It's like, hey,
No, but we're
let's start
having
a live
such a
stream and
great
just hope people will
conversation.
come and we'll just read their comments.
Right? Oh my gosh. Um, okay, yes,
Ask me a
SB.
question. Any question. I'm here for you, Ingrid. What do you want to know?
Okay, hold on. I want to see. Okay, people, I'm stopping the comments. That's it. We are done. Okay. Whew. I just knocked my mic. Sorry, guys. Okay. So, Bob,
Yes.
this show is inspiration from Inga. So I have the first question I'd like to ask you at friggin' 57 minutes in, 58 almost, is what inspires you?
Uh, this community inspires me. I've found great inspiration in this building of community that people have been doing here in LinkedIn, with intention. And I don't mean everyone, right? There's still a lot of the spam bot and all the stuff that you just have to sift through. But if you're intentional and you reach out to people and you build those connections,
Mm,
I'm inspired by the work people are doing that I'm connected to that I wouldn't have been connected to before this. I was on LinkedIn, right? But COVID was the catalyst. It's just kind of this. It just helped catalyze and kind of really accentuate this whole experience and kind of made it happen more
mm,
meaningfully,
mm.
where you have these digital friendships. But I look at all the work people are doing, and it's just like, oh, this is amazing, and it kind of gives you that kind of sense of like, oh yeah, I want to be part of that, and I want to learn from that, or grab ideas from it. And I think there's this great big sharing of ideas. So yeah, this
Yes.
community that you and I are blessed to be in, and you kind of knows there's a bunch of them, right? There's not just this
Yes.
one. There's like these. I probably
These
have four or
little
five
micro communities.
pretty interesting circles, at least. I could probably name 6 or 7 that I'm involved with, that some have the Venn diagram, some have overlap, some have none. And then
Yeah.
sometimes when you think they overlap and you realize they don't, then you connect them, right? And that's kind of what we do
Yes.
too, is right. You go like, oh, do you know so and so? Like, I introduced Erica. I was like, oh, you know Ingor. And Erica's like, no. I'm like, what? Really? You guys don't know each other? It's insane. Like, how is that possible? And then so I introduced the two of you so that you guys could
Yes.
connect, because
That's
there's this kind
awesome.
of, yeah. So yeah, so it's inspiring, the community building that's going on, that the people are doing it right. The people that do it right,
Yes.
I really find inspiring, and really like to see the stories and the work. And it's interesting because, again, I wouldn't have seen all this stuff, right? You did in my little world.
Yes.
Now you're like,
Yes.
oh, what's this person doing? Oh, that's amazing. Oh, look at the work this person's doing. And I could name all of them, but that's an exhausting list of people that are doing amazing work. But you know who you are.
Let me make a tongue-in-cheek comment and say you would never have tapped into these communities if you stayed in person.
No, no, no. I'm not saying, like, yeah,
Yes, now I get it.
absolutely. I'm not, advocating something. I always want to be in person. I liked being in person because that was what I had, and
Yes.
but I gravitated toward this because I didn't have in person. So all of a sudden, I dug in and was like, okay, I got to find some people to hang out with and chat with and talk with and have interactions with.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely, it became meaningful because if you intentionally, like you were one of them, right, in that network where we met regularly and talked regularly, and we started to build friendships,
Yes.
and I started to realize that these friendships are real. Like you start to have this kind of these conversations. You're like, I know about this person now, and I'm starting to really feel about this person, even though I haven't been at a
Yes.
table breaking bread with them. They bring something to me, even though I'm not physically around them. That
Yes.
I want to support them, and I want to talk to them, and I want to see what they're doing. I want to hear what they're, what's happening in their lives, even though I
Yes.
can't. And hopefully, physically, we'll see them at some point, just to have that ability to break bread. But it doesn't always
Yeah.
happen. But that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and if you've just tuned in, we're chatting with Bob Feathers from Bindable. Uh, this, if you'd like to check out Bindable, that's the website link over there. Check them out and
Follow
see.
follow us on
Yes.
LinkedIn, please.
Yes, follow them on
Follow
LinkedIn.
button.
And by the way, actually, saying thank you for saying that because Radio Africa Radio or Radio AKR has just started using LinkedIn for the first time. And so they're a brand new account on LinkedIn. And I would appreciate if you could follow them on LinkedIn as well. I will share the link in the comments later on. But thank you, Bob. Yes, and I want to say, have you ever had cherry pie before?
But heard or had cherry pie?
Have you ever eaten cherry pie before?
Sure, of course.
So cherry
I'm
pie.
an American. I'm just like the U.S. If you haven't eaten cherry pie in America, I'm not sure if you're an American, right? Is it possible?
So, so do you like it?
I'm not a big pie eater, so I'm not gonna
Okay.
just cherry pie in general. Pie is not my one
Pie,
of my
yeah.
favorites, just as
But
dessert goes. So
when you eat cherry pie is awesome, but you will encounter a seed or a pip at some point. That doesn't mean you stop eating the cherry pie. You just spit out the seeds. And the reason why I'm pointing this out is LinkedIn, yes, it comes with people that will spam you sometimes, that will be pitch slapping you,
pitch slapping you, yeah,
right?
yeah,
But it doesn't mean you dismiss the entire community or the entire platform. It just means that you sift those things out.
yeah. Which is why I'm more intentional about my connections. I don't just
Mm.
arbitrarily, I try to comment
Mm.
first or follow first. If it's somebody I don't like, somebody I've encountered, unless there's somebody encounter where you're doing this live, where people then reach out and say, "Hey, I saw you in this show,"
Yeah.
and they send you a message. You're like, "Sure, great," and you're connected with 30 people I know or 40 people. It's you're not connected to anybody. There's no message, or there's one
Mm.
connection point, and it's not something you're really close to. You're like, I don't, and I just don't because I don't care about the numbers
Yeah.
because I don't want to. I
Yeah.
don't because I don't want to have these people I don't even know who they are. Like I
Yeah.
kind of want to know who they are a little bit. So but being attention. So yeah, I just sift through it. I just kind of just ignore the stuff. Doesn't mean anything. I'm like, no, sorry,
Yeah.
delete. I don't care about people. Just I don't want to get my numbers up just to like say yes to every connection. I'm like,
Yes.
it's like
Yes.
that. I don't need it because I'm not selling anything. Right. I work for a company. I'm
Yeah.
selling that company in the sense that obviously I'd love to support to like follow our
Yes.
page to see what we're doing because you never know. People on this stream might go like, oh, actually, your company could help us. It's
Yes.
possible, right? And
Yes.
that's why it's important not to stay in your vertical, not get pigeonholed even in your own space. Get out there and find other spaces because you never know where those connections are going to come from or your next opportunity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, Bob, we're still in that phase of getting to know you. Um, I'm talking about for the show. So let me ask you another question. Who was your role model when you were growing up
Oh,
and why?
it's easy. It's my parents. Um, my parents. I was the fourth, so I was the youngest of four children.
Wow.
So one could say that, one, I was spoiled because my parents were at a different economic point of their, my father has successful business and there's a different point in his career. one could say that I was the youngest, so my parents didn't, they weren't as involved with me, right? They kind of like, oh, it's like we're done with this kid raising thing. But I look at it differently, because of I learned they led by example, but they also had been parents for a long time. So I look at it like in a business, right? When you get better at something, you can do less with more. Like you kind of know where the inflection point. So I would say that my parents knew exactly when to press the button and when to just let me be and let me form by just giving me the space, the foundation, kind of, and so it would be I two components. My father would be the going with him and traveling with him downtown,
Mm,
and he'd see how he interacted with all the people, said hello to everyone. Everyone knew him. Kind of patronage, loyalty, respect, kindness,
yeah.
conversation, like all those kind of things that I just learned from him. That kind of sense of humility he always had. And my mother was the other side, which was entertaining, always open our home to others, and
Mm,
and doing that kind of breaking bread and having people in the house and always having friends around and really making those plans. And really, it was important to have friends and family around all the time. And so they just kind of led by example, and those things just kind of culminated. And out of my four siblings, my siblings would probably agree that I'm the most like both my parents. I mean, I can have both of those qualities. Or my sister's more like my father, and my brother's more like my mother. I'm kind of like both of them. So I've had both this kind of business sense. My father's gone. The business sense and kind of that humility and being the energy side, and then my mother's side, which is always bringing people to my house and making the plans and making sure people are that you are connected with people and have the conversations or reach out
mm.
and make those connection points and don't lose sight of those relationships. So
I love that. I love that. That's awesome. Um, yeah. And if you don't know Bob, by the way, guys, he, from what, like, I've never had the honor of breaking bread with him, but he is a great entertainer. I've seen him put together such beautiful dishes and drinks, actually. Um, and when I first got to know Bob, he was the chief drinks officer for
CDO.
the WBX Rocks. Oh my word! And it was really, for me, inspiring just to watch you and talk about it and see how you interacted with everyone every Friday. It was awesome. It was awesome. And I see things through your Facebook, and it's awesome to see that you enjoy that you're so passionate about it, because
Oh yeah.
so am I.
Well, it's funny too when people come to my house. Sometimes they've never been before, and
Yeah.
they say like, "Oh, you should cook for a living," or it's like they kind of like that, kind of like you should own a restaurant. And I'm kind of my response is like, "My God, why do you hate me or something?" Like, I have such respect for the whole restaurant industry, but it's like I don't want to do that as my job. Like, or I have a job that I actually really like what I'm doing in leadership and project management and growth. And so the cooking and that's the passion part, right? And having my friends at my table, like I don't want to do it for a living. I want to sit at the table with the people. I don't want to be in the kitchen at a restaurant. I
Yes.
want to be making the meal, planning the meal, making it, having you at my table, and then enjoying the meal with you. So I'm always like, why do you want me to own a restaurant?
But
What?
perhaps you can explore something like hosting dinner parties
No, done it.
at some
Did it
point.
once. No,
No?
I've done it. No, I'll host my
Hmm.
own dinner parties. No, I did one time. I actually catered once for like one party for somebody else, but I wasn't sitting at the table. So just like not interested. I have enough. I'm blessed with a lot. I have plenty of amazing friends that
You can do
we just,
that.
I just do it with them, and
That's
more
awesome.
keep coming in, and we just keep doing it, and that's how it works. So
That's
as my
awesome.
friend describes it, the best restaurant in town.
That's awesome.
So,
Okay, so before I started hosting a show, um, and before I really wanted to show up on, I don't really, I still don't really, but before I showed up on camera and on people's shows, a gentleman reached out to me wanting me to be on his show. And I remember saying, no. And he's like, no, but you'll be so great. I will be able to, my audience will be able to learn something from you. And I really thought about it. I said, okay, just give me some time to think. And I think I thought for like 2 months.
What am I going to talk about?
Like, yes, what am I going to talk about? Can I bring value? Because, I don't want to be spewing garbage, right? So,
Right.
can I bring value? And will people really want to hear me speak?
Yeah.
And then I said yes, and he gave me a set of questions um, that he wanted me to prep for. And I remember seeing this one question and saying, "Oh crap, I don't know if I want to do this." And the question, it was so profound, and it really helped me to think about who I am and what it is that I bring to the table. So I use that question now in my show. And the question, the question, I know, sorry. The question is, what is your life statement?
Yeah, I was thinking about this right because you sent that to me.
Yes.
I don't know if it's like a statement, but what I would say, right? So it is one component of it is creating memories. Like I want to create memories, and that's kind of that connection point of our dinner parties, which is not just to have people over or not just to cook for them. It's like to create that memory of being together. So kind of within the context of that, one of the things I do play into my strength is I'm a planner. So I'm the guy who plans those things. I'm the one who's always getting all those things together. And it's not just the dinner parties. I have this brother's weekend with my brother. I have, Red Sox tickets. I have all these like things, ways, I have a gentleman's Christmas party. Like I have ways to connect people on a regular basis. So I'm always using that planning strength to make sure that I'm connected, that we stay connected, that there's this kind of like that we have these points. And people always say like, oh, it seems like your whole life's all planned out and you have all these weekends planned and it's not spontaneous. I'm like, I love, I'd love to have the idea of spontaneity, but I'll use your going to back. So I know you said it, so it's okay to say that's bullshit because we're all really busy and everyone has super busy lives and everyone has tons
Yeah.
of stuff going on. And the idea of waiting for that stuff to happen spontaneously is bullshit. If you want to see your friends, if you want to have things, if you want to have those moments, you have to plan them. And I don't care
Yes.
if it's 3 months in advance. Say, when are you open? But I'm the guy who like says, you see the person in the supermarket and they're like, oh, we should get together. I'm like, when? When are you available? Like, what's your calendar like right now? Like, we have phones with calendars. Like, can you get
Yeah,
together in
let's
three
do
weeks
it.
from now? They're like, 3 weeks from now. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready that Thursday. They're like, but that's 3 weeks from now. I'm like, I don't care. Let's put it on our calendar. Now you and I have a commitment to meet 3 weeks from now on a Thursday. And then I know how to plan for it and
Yeah.
make sure that nothing else gets in its way.
And
Right.
make memories.
And you make it happen. And then the thing is, then you're looking forward to it. People
Yes.
think, oh, it seems so important. It's like, no, you kidding me? It's great because I'm doing this, but then I also go like, oh, and look, here I have this dinner, and then here I'm going to see this person, and here I'm going to have this one I'm meeting with so and so, and here I'm going to have this other, like, and I'm going to be on Russ Hedges' show, and you creating these
Yeah.
little events, and then it's intentional. Then those things happen, and then the spontaneity could be like when you're in it, you don't script it, right? It's just okay, now we're together. What are we going to do? Like, you know what I mean? But at the same
Right.
time, if you wait for spontaneity completely, you'll just be sitting at home all the
Yes.
time and then
Yes.
wondering why you don't see your friends. And then your friends are
Yes.
like, oh, we should get together sometime.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
we did during COVID, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Bob, I have a proposition for you.
Okay.
It is, we are 1 hour and almost 15 minutes into the show.
How did this happen?
So, like, yes, how did this happen? So, my proposition is, could we please do a part two where we can go into the networking side?
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
thank you.
I'll acquiesce
Thank
to your
you.
request, Ingor. I have to. I don't know what
Thank
I'm going to
you.
say.
And then because I want to also bring in our audience into this conversation, right? Because
Yes.
I love what people are saying, and so you can please go ahead and read this um, from Diane.
Life statement. Live your best life today and manifest it, for it doesn't magically happen at 105 years old. And remember, 5 minutes of unhappiness is 5 minutes too long. Enjoy your day.
Yes. Amazing. You are
Kidding.
amazing, Diane. And listen to what Jamie said. He said, sounds intentional to me. Yes, let's plan for part two. And yes,
Yep.
Whitney, we do need a part two to our conversation.
Yeah, because I'd love to talk about networking. That's the whole thing that I'm, again, as you know, right? We do it, but
Yes,
it's there's different approaches to it. But I certainly would love to talk more about the
awesome.
amazing people I've been meeting and how it's kind of, and it just to know that there's different strategies. It's not like one strategy, and there's different strategies based on what you need or where you are. What am I
Yes,
unemployed? Am I employed? Am I here? Am I launching a new show? Like, what are the things or who do I need to support? There's different ways to
yes.
approach it. It's not just kind of like cookie cutter networking. I mean, you can, right?
Yeah.
You can just send connection requests
Yes,
out
you
and
can, but there has to be spontaneity somewhere.
yeah,
It really does.
yeah,
Um, Whitney says, yes, planning has to happen, especially once you have kids. Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Okay, Ileana, once you believe, there is no going back. Awesome. Okay. Ooh, Adele. Adele says, can you read it for us, please,
Sure.
actually?
Love that. I'm not selling anything. That's quotes. That's me. Often connection and chemistry is organic and tends to spark at just the right time too. When the time is right, we just have to be present and open to see and embrace it, not fear it. Yeah.
Love
We,
it. Thank
yeah.
you.
Organic's a good word. I always like that one too. Like
Yes.
this is I feel like my approach is somewhat organic. It just I let it happen through this, right? So there'll probably be I'm going to go back and go through the comments, and then all the people I'm not connected to, I'm going to reach out and be like, "Thanks for joining
Awesome.
the show." Or sometimes I just follow people because I just send them a note and follow them because I figure, hey, look, I don't want to like. I'm happy to be connected, but I'm
Mm,
also happy to follow people and just see what they're talking about
yeah,
and try to engage a bit and start a comment, and start commenting things like that. So
awesome. Karen Rivera says, I am the youngest and only girl. Unfortunately, my parents did not get the memo of spoiling me. Looking back now, I am glad they didn't.
my father called me King B. That was his nickname for me.
King B.
Yeah,
Oh,
much to the chagrin of my siblings. Like, why is he the king? It's like I was like, it's good to be the king.
right.
Somebody's got to be the king in this household.
Oh my gosh.
Might as well be me.
I can just actually, because I have three kids, and I can so see that happening in my house. Like, seriously, why? Oh my gosh. Nubi says intentional connection, and she loves that. Karen is laughing at pitch slapping.
You've
Yes.
never heard pitch slapping? Oh my gosh,
Oh
that's been
my
around. I
gosh.
think I heard it from. I think Gail said it first that I can remember my
Yes, I
conversations.
can. Yes, that's
It's
where I learned it from. I
yeah,
learned about that from there. Yes.
yeah.
Okay, Jamie says cherry cheesecake is better, and oh my gosh, Noopy says she eats the peps and she loves cherry pie, but she eats the pips. Hey, Noopy, do we have a date next week, Friday? Can you check your calendar? Just check and then I'll confirm it once you comment for me. Diane says our world has already was already moving to a global community. LinkedIn and these communities have allowed us to connect way beyond our physical limitations, and we are better together. Yes.
Love it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Noopy says, will do, boss. Follow bindable. Yes, yes, yes. Nubi also says, yes, you're right, Inga, and the common ground is heart centered connection. That's my favorite. My favorite, favorite, favorite.
And like when I meet people, right, and we have these things, they say, "What can I do for you?" I was like, "Nothing." What I mean is like, you're doing it right now. Like if we're having a conversation, that's all you can do for me. That's all.
Mm,
I'm always like, I don't need anything from you right now. I have a blessed life. I'm really it's more like, what can I do for you? Like how can I support you? Like I'm just here to help support others figuring again, like I'm not running a business, right? I keep saying it, but it's like
Yeah.
follow my company page, but I'm just here to support others and serve. And then through that, things will happen. I
Yeah.
know there'll be another time, right? There'll be a time where I'm in need. And then I know when I'm in need something, right? I need to be a taker, but I'm
Yes.
okay taking because I'll just be like, okay, network, I need something, right? And you kind of reach out and people be like, there's the guy that gives all the time. So let's help him out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's okay to be in both roles. And you don't have
Hmm.
to be both at the same time. I think that people get
Yeah.
very nervous about that. Oh, I feel like I'm taking all the time. Sometimes you need to. Like you just that's the
Yeah.
place you're in. You need stuff. But if you're
Yeah.
what you gotta remember is when you're in that space, it's just like when you're done with that, remember to like then
Yes, you need to sow.
give. And you can do both at the same time. I'm not saying you can't, but you can do either or and you can do both.
Mm, mm.
But don't be afraid to be a taker and then but if you're doing it, then make sure you're a giver. Don't like
Awesome.
give back.
Thank you. Ileana says at their company, they developed the apprenticeship for those that need to be pushed to dream bigger. That's awesome. It's really important to empower others to be the very best version of themselves. That's what we need to do in life in general. Sid is agreeing with you. Um, he says, I definitely agree. I'm glad to be along this ride with you and that we've networked and become friends. Awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh my gosh. Newbie is really glitter bombing us.
Oh yeah, there's a
Oh my gosh. Yes, that's one thing about you, Bob. I have to highlight what she said here. You're very calming and soothing to listen to. So awesome. Oh, okay. Hold on. Just want to make sure that I am acknowledging what people have said. Uh, Nupi, if you're still here, please confirm. I believe she will be on my show next week, Friday, the 3rd of March. But yes, Kristen says, looking forward to part two. Amazing, amazing show. Really a lot to think about. How I approach stepping out and taking chances. What? Okay, Chrislyn. I think I need to take a screenshot of this. And I'm going to. Because, girl, I'm holding you to this. Kristen is so used to being in the background and helping to orchestrate everything. But I do try to push her outside of that comfort zone. So, okay, Bob, what are your final thoughts for our viewers?
final thoughts. Um,
For part one, we
for
can
part
go
one. Yeah,
we
for
can
part
go to
one.
part two another time.
Yeah,
We will
so
schedule it.
right. So I think from the we're talking about this idea of the leadership and culture and kind of that side of the equation is
Hmm.
be intentional, be open though, but be open to that thing. Create that safe space, right? Create that safe space, not just like, but with every colleague, right? Just that space of communication where you can build that rapport, even if it's remote. Um,
Mm,
it's take the time. I guess that's the message, right? Is take the time.
mm,
Take the time to meet people where they are, and and
mm,
build that rapport, and be intentional about it.
mm,
Don't wait for things to happen. Make things
mm,
happen, or
mm,
go
mm,
go
mm.
find go make things happen.
Don't wait for things to happen.
Yeah,
Make things happen.
yeah,
Make those memories. Make those appointments.
yeah.
Make time
Make time.
to make
Also,
time.
that's a
Being
pet peeve, right? One of my pet peeves is I don't have time. Everyone has time. We don't, and right? Time is a critical factor. What I like to say is, and it's okay to say, be like, I can't do this, but don't say I don't have time.
mm.
What say is, it's not a priority for me.
Oh. And people don't like to say something like that because
But I
it's
say it.
kind of
I had it.
it's
I said it, and
offensive.
I'll tell you when I said it, which was just I was being honest to the person because I didn't want to. Is it was somebody from my church because we haven't been going to church. Not to say I don't support my church or like the church community, the faith community,
Mm,
but
mm,
someone said, "Oh, we never see you in church," and I just said it's not a priority for us right now. I didn't say we don't have time. Like I could have time. I could make time. We always make time for the things we want to do, or the things that are important to do, or the things that
mm.
you need to do, or that have a priority in your life. And church just wasn't one of them. And I just said it's not a priority for us right now. That's why we're not coming.
Wow.
Not because I don't have time. It's not a priority.
Wow.
That's okay. But
And
be
how was
honest.
it? How was it received though?
They received it well. I mean, they received it well because they
Yeah.
just. I wasn't trying to be like, oh, I don't have time. Oh, I'm busy. It's like no, I was like, it's not a priority for me. I love you guys and I love the community. It's not a priority for me to go to church right now. So
Mm,
I'm not. So think
wow.
about that at that level, but think about everywhere else.
Mm,
It's just
mm,
not a priority, and that's okay. And just but be honest about it. It's like, sorry, I can't prioritize it right now. If you want to know about all the things I am prioritizing, if you feel like you feel slighted, whatever, but that's just my choice. And I'm being honest with you. It's not that I don't have time for you. It's I'm not going to make time for you because I have other priorities that I
mm.
need to. And sometimes just about energy.
Yeah.
Sometimes you say like, "Hey, look, this is not a priority for me," and other things that I have priorities for me now are taking a lot of my energy. And I just don't have the energy to do this thing with you, whatever it
Yeah.
is. That's another one
Wow.
you could say, like, I don't have the energy, like I need to conserve, or I've got some things going on, and I just don't have the energy right now. I certainly have
Mm.
time on my hands, but I just that time is spent recharging or recouping or whatever it is. And so just
Yes.
be honest, be intentional and honest about that level. I think people will appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right,
Thank
I've got a
you.
meeting.
Yes.
I gotta be with my team. And
That's okay. Thank you for being here, Bob. Thank you for
thanks for
honoring
having
me
me.
with your time. It has been amazing. And I look forward to part two. You can go ahead and drop off, and I'll see you another time. Take care. Be blessed. Have an amazing weekend.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye. And if you're still watching, thank you for tuning in today and honoring me with your time as well. It has been a tremendous honor and blessing for me to be live with you and with Bob. And if you missed my announcement, let me just make it again. Thank you to our amazing sponsors, Africop Radio, um, Radio AKR. We appreciate you. And if you missed my announcement, I will be launching a brand new show next week, Wednesday. Um, and it's called Wonder Women Wednesday. Coming next week, Wednesday, March the first Wednesday of Women's Month, International Women's Month, and launching at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time or 6 p.m. South African Standard Time on Africop Radio. And then we will be live on LinkedIn at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to catch the beginning of the show, not just the interview, please tune in to Africop Radio, and I'm going to put that is their website over there, africop.co.za. You can tune in live by visiting their website, and there is a link to be able to listen live and hear what it is that we're going to be talking about during the show. And then also we'll be catch the Q&A on africop.co.za as well, at the tail end of that 2 hour period. Um, it's been an amazing honor and a blessing for me to be here with you today. Let me just go to the comments and see what it is that people are saying. Kristen says, have a blessed weekend all. Ileana says, great job. Oh, thank you, Ileana. You're so sweet. Whitney says, have a lovely weekend, everyone, as well as Jamie. And yes, Whitney, I am excited for part 2 as well. Thank you again to my amazing guest, Bob Feathers. And Whitney says that is life sometimes. We all go through seasons when some commitments have to take a back seat. It doesn't mean it's not important to you. Kristen says, don't wait for things to happen, make them happen. So be intentional, be open, and make time. Diane says, have a wonderful weekend. Appreciate you all. Need to run. Take care, friends. Thank you, Diane. Thank you for being here. And Kristen says, looking forward to part two. Amazing show. Really a lot to think about. How I approach stepping out and taking chances. Yes, I'm gonna screenshot this one too. Chrislyn, I love you and I'm so excited to see your growth. Have a blessed weekend all. And again, new show coming next Wednesday, March 1st at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Africa Radio. That is their website. And if you are still watching, please go ahead and follow them on LinkedIn. They have a brand new page, and I'm just trying to build the following. So please do that for me. Thank you, everyone. Make it an amazing weekend, and I'll see you back here for this show next week, Friday at 9:30 a.m. However, if you have time and are inclined to support empowerment of women, come and join us next week, Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on africa.co.za. And again, live on LinkedIn at 11:30 a.m. Take care and be blessed. And I shall end this show for you by just playing my intro video one more time. Take care for now. Bye. I hate videos. Now, you may be wondering, if I hate videos, what the heck am I doing here?